and some things in this action as well, as we're going to get to a nice little build-up here between Zate, and I'm not sure who is on the other side, but this is an opportunity to get those first 4 points, get those jitters out the way, as we mentioned, and Zate does have a good one on Nate here, already getting down to the heels here. He has the opportunity to close this out. It's going to be a big opportunity here for Zate to get going, and I like the aggression right now, knowing that he has him on the ropes, and there it is, the first points of the invitation for Zate right then and there, Sundown.
In his very first game, so yes, still
Listen,
the absolute best. Can pick Fortnite up and still be the best. As we hop on board over here with Bertha with 1 big shot, 2 big shots, and lives with just 6 HP and taking out Straw Wet Charlie.
Around the 250, so it'll be interesting to see how the east side of North America where it goes out here, with Genesis already getting a big dink right there. He's in trouble, he's going to have to retreat down to the building, already getting contested with another big hit. And Genesis, Nino gets the job done and eliminating Genesis.
We're kind of joking around with Bala, like, you won't ever see 2 EU pros box up in front of each other, square off, and then make a disengage. Already in that situation, Punisher and Zate recognize if we get stuck in this early fight,
no matter what's sundown, you'll be happy if, you know, one of your favorites ends up winning.
Yeah, and I think that's kind of the benefit of solos too, is even if you don't necessarily have somebody you go in rooting for, at least for me, I find somebody on the day who I'm like, hey, this player is like really impressing me. They're a lot of fun to watch. At the World Cup, King was that player for a lot of people. But then if anybody like ever got a particular chance, go back and watch the final game with what Crew ended up doing. He went from 66 to 6, I believe, all in one game. Just propelled himself forward with the 70 elim victory route, and it was just brilliant as 828 Suscript takes it down Lakira.
It's the opportunity for that third party, and the third party's here on script, and now he's on the defense, trying to protect himself, but it doesn't matter. Mammy gets right into the box with the spray down with that AR, and Sundown, you called it. That is a signal for some lurkers running around. Captain Shark is making his way to the high ground, and Issue, and this is that opportunity with Captain Shark using that Midas drum gun. The burr effect is full effect here, Sundown, and easily getting into that box and picking up that elim, as you said.
You don't really, typically you'll see people, if they have it uncontested, they'll hang around and they'll start doing this circular loop path, but instead opting, and he was in zone too, so could have stayed, but instead opting to rotate over, as we see Outcast just destroying Alberta. And right now, you're following the trail of the most important mythic weapons. We know where the drum gun is, we know where Sky's loadout is, and we've been able to see how they've moved around the map so far. And sometimes the only way you make it there is by playing very risk-averse. Like, even in this situation, Collazo recognizing, yes, he could shoot this player in front of him. What are the odds that he's able to eliminate this player before he can react, and nobody else in the lobby does anything? Well, we're about to find out. Let's go, Collazo, roll the dice. He rolls them, they come up, no problem, 7 every time. That's 3 head taps for 66 apiece. Collazo will pick up all of that loot and be able to build themselves a nice little base on that supply cache.
This expends so many mats because you have to account for the floor build as well. Outcast does the high ground, gets a couple of big hits here. He's going to go ahead and fly right in. I'm expecting a big box bully play, and he does get inside, and he does get some white hits here, and he's going to try to get right back up with the grappler, and the rush down continues here for Outcast, getting some big boy plays right now, doing his best to get inside the box, and he has so free reign because there's no one out here, Sundown, trying to get this third party on, so Outcast could get another elim here easily for him.
And there it is, right as you say, able to pick it up and close it out, but you have people coming in, because the second you hear the grappler, everyone gets interested. Spicy's up on the high ground. Toe Rub's right around the corner as well. Rip Luke, who has kind of been hawking just around the backside of these fights, opting to take whatever shots he can in case Storm Surge, particularly, like, we've already seen a number of players hit so many times and tagged out. If you're able to eliminate one of those and get one advantage in a trade and set up one play for a slot, it's worth it. Also, we know how good Zexor is. He could straight just be trying to meme this round and be like, I want to do something late game with a cardboard box, and I have no problem pushing them. He's one of the historical, literal best players in the game, has some of the best highlight reel clutch clips, like has just gone around and played both on NA and EU.
gonna do his best right here, and I like it, man. The box play is such a good one, especially if he gets himself in a really sticky situation as Zate going back in here, trying to work on Doxy, and he gets a really nice tag here, and he's gonna try to go for the retake, and this is the opportunity. It all comes down to fundamentals when it comes to box fighting. You try to get it in there, uses harpoon, gonna come from Believe, and he almost ate the HP, but he gets the job done with 13 HP, and he's rolling right now with Mr. Consistency.
In control of that drum gun, which as the circle gets tighter and tighter, and you have less of a need for that first shot accuracy, and you're just able to kind of start spraying bullets towards people, that's what the drum gun does best. And right now, Lord NM going down there as he gets chosen from multiple sides, and Rogue Shark being the benefactor.
Big benefactor right there, and we're still taking a look at it. There is the water. You could still sort of build on the edges of this water, but there's still...
But pretty much everyone has already squeezed into the edge of the zone. Look in the bottom right-hand corner. You can see what the Storm Surge special is, and also how many players need to make their way in as class does get picked up there by Spark. I mean, pretty much everyone's going to be able to squeeze right on the edge of the zone. Let's take a look at who's in the lobby. You got Nate Hill, Weigel, Rigid.
But I'm expecting Shark to kind of, we kind of see this from Kanata as well in his solo runs, where he kind of looks around for just abandoned loot and does his best, and he catches someone with the window open, and there goes White Rhino as Shark gets a big thing and fiends on that loot right there, Sundown.
Yeah, so that's huge. Rogue Shark picking up. Now he has the cash of the 2 supplies from 2 players. Also, Fact is the World Cup qualified player coming out of Canada who dropped over there, has been one of the most consistent solo players, but going down before the second threshold, as we now see everybody getting the +2. Storm Surge ticking off as we have our top 50 players just inside Circle 5. So now we're transitioning kind of into that late game full on, and some very familiar names up in that left-hand corner as well on board with Booga. Spicy also picking up an Elim. Booga getting one onto Xeno, who will go down, and Booga continuing to try and take some picks towards the Storm. Knows this player is healing up. Wants to try and pick an elimination here, but you can see him being patient. Trying to use the first shot accuracy, but almost gets run past there. Gets a nice ramp inside, but has to be careful.
That was a very scary situation, Sundown, as he was getting caught tunneling in on that player in the Storm. Now Booga's going to take this opportunity to use the big pots, because later on he will not be able to. And the first rotating circle goes out. It is zone circle 6 here, and it's going to pull all the way back down. I think that's going to go north, actually, so let's see how the rest of the lobby deals with it. But the water is almost not a factor here, Sundown, because all the competitors essentially build a nice, their own little terrain there. So actually this is going to go more south here, Lazy Lake, and it's going to get into where we saw this earlier in the broadcast, and I believe during the qualifier, Sundown, I think you were casting where it goes towards the bridge. I think that was a kind of insane finish, so hopefully maybe we get that repeat here as we're on board here with Wanban.
43 players remaining. Again, remember, it's the every 10 players, boom, everyone gets a point. You'll see that now as Spicy goes down. Spark picking up another one as Ronbon is continuing to just rotate around the outside. Hits an 80 tag and trying to push forward. Finds another one. Code use. Nah, I'm okay. I'll use somebody else's since you're going down there. And another big pickup from Ronbon under VQ Painful. Also going to dip back into the Storm. Get a little bit of a refresher. Only at the cost of about 30 health, so if he needs to survive by one AR shot, that'll be the difference. However, his rotation's going fine as we see Zexro's at the front of it. Zate is there as well. We also have FaZe Tilt on the front of it. Macwood in the lobby. This is a who's who of classic NAE's veterans as Tilt pushes through the box, phases in, not quite finding anyone there. As we swap over to Zexro, who is still sitting on that box.
In box, and I have a big play. It will be a factor, Sundown. It has to be. And no one will hold on to this box as long as possible, knowing that they're not going to use it. I mean, the opportunities to pick up so many different things. No doubt he will drop it for a grappler, but I mean, the play styles, and that's what I like about solos. It's your own play style that you could kind of work a way around. I mean, duos and trios, you kind of have to find that synergy. But Zexro opting to keep the cardboard box, and I'm accepting a big play from it in the future. But now he does trying to go for some kind of layer control here near height. And now he's just sitting here with some nice hard matchup with metal. Still only has about 40 builds. There's one person, and they're raining down terror with that rocket launcher, Sundown.
Yeah, and we also almost have our top 15. We have it now as Zexro and Tilt both pick up Elam's. Canada goes down but hits the top 15. Zate got picked up by Jamper outside the top 20, so that's actually kind of a rough game for Zate not to finish it out. But look at the zone. You talked about the bridge zone. Look at the disparity in the verticality. Zexro all the way up top, but we know there's so many players down at the bottom, including Nate Hill and Rogue Shark, as Nico, I will not lose, actually picks up Nate Hill, and we close in on the top 10. After that, every single placement is more and more points, and you want to get into that top 5 if you're playing ideally. Well, I mean, ideally you want to win. As we see, Nico, Macwood, Jamper on bottom, mid tarp, Dowboys, Stony, Aleu, Rogue Shark, Pulse Fishy, and then Zexro looking down on all of them. It's King Zexro's lobby to win.
It's a scary sight to see how high you go. I hope anyone out there at home doesn't have vertigo, because look at down below. It's the afraid of heights as there's a pad. I'm sorry I had to bring it up, dude. I'm kind of getting the pit of my stomach is bringing it up right here as Zexro is sitting on top of it. He gets a quick flick right there with a big pump. Oh my goodness, but he has to give it up there, and he's trying to take the short pad, but there's a little ramp in the way. I think he got scared off the height there, Sundown. It kind of came out of nowhere.
Interesting decision, but I think he realized he didn't have enough to safely waterfall down, so had to find a way. And we all know Zexro, rather than like to play in the back, he likes to push into zone and just go for broke. Colazo and Ronbon go down. Does not have a launch pad, needs to find his way back into zone. Nice, tight little building around the corner, making sure he's not quite 90ing back and forth, so using the tight angles. 120, Zexro holding forward with a pump. Name a more iconic duo, but Alige El Nino says, no mas para ti, senor. All done today, and he's trying to close it out from the low ground. One player above him is Dowboys with the rocket launcher, but he eats some fall damage and eats his own rocket, and Nino says, thank you very much, I will steal that game away. 5 eliminations and the victory royale push